service to Jesus Christ is so similar. And at one point, I was looking around at everybody, and I could see that everyone was carrying crosses. So we got into a room together, and we just went around the room, and we said, what's it like to be a priest serving in this apostolate? What's it like to be a married woman serving in this apostolate? What's it like to be a single woman serving in this apostolate? What's it like to be a religious serving in this apostolate? Okay, here's what everybody said. I'm suffering. I'm lonely. I'm experiencing terrible loneliness. I'm working so hard. I feel like I don't fit in the world anymore. I feel like I don't have any friends anymore. How many have felt this? Please. How many have felt, don't put your hands up. How many have felt lonely in the last week? You know? Loneliness is part of the human condition. St. Augustine says our hearts are restless until they rest in the Lord. Please don't think because you're experiencing loneliness that there's something wrong with your vocation, something wrong with your marriage, something wrong with your priesthood, something wrong with your consecrated life, or something wrong with your single life. We are all struggling with loneliness. We are all working very hard, and we are all carrying crosses. You know, at one point recently, I looked at the teams. We have different teams in different cities. And one thing they all had in common is they were all suffering. This team's getting hit, this team's getting hit, this one's got this one's got this. It has become irrelevant to the work in the sense that on any given day, you're going to have a problem of the day. You're going to have a suffering of the day. You're going to have an anguish of the day or a cross of the day. Which person here is not worried about someone today? Is there anyone here who's not worried about anyone? Is there any parent here who doesn't experience fear for their children's future? I mean, we're all in the same boat. We have to take our crosses with us into the day and serve despite them. Just keep on working. Loneliness is part of the human condition. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think we'll have to get used to it. Recently, Jesus spoke about people serving him, and he talked about how grateful he was. And he's always grateful. If I were to give you one big message today, it would be Jesus is grateful to you. He thanks you. He counts on you. He calls you his friend. But he gave this message one time. Okay. Let's say for an example, an atheist or a fallen away Catholic gets in a bad situation. And at that time, sometimes they say, okay, God, if you're there, speak. Go ahead. Show yourself. You know what I'm saying? They kind of challenge him. And Jesus said, my friends, I could speak and often do in those moments. The difficulty is that these distanced children do not know how to listen. They have not practiced hearing the voice of God, so they are almost deaf to it. I tell you today, there are those who have dedicated their lives to service to me, who are also nearly deaf to my voice. I cannot direct these individuals into the compassionate service of the moment. They are working, yes, but they are limited by their undisciplined participation in the personal relationship with me that they require to love as I love and to serve as I would have them serve. What Jesus is saying is that sometimes we've given our lives to Jesus, and yet we won't take his direction. We're not listening. We're doing it our way. We don't want this to be us. We want Jesus to be able to move us around like pieces, on a chessboard. We want to be listening. We want to be paying attention. What I can see is that there are many of us serving in unity with heaven. We're doing the work. We're getting it done. We're working. We made a commitment. We're living it out. We're serving in unity, but not union. Let's aim high. Let's aim for union with God. If we're suffering, we say we want to be abandoned to God's will. Don't we? Haven't we all said, I want to abandon myself to God's will? And then what can happen is the road rises, the incline gets steeper, and maybe we think we're abandoned. Maybe we even think we're abandoned. And then God reaches into our day and he takes something away from us. Maybe it's money. Maybe it's a loved one. Maybe it's a business. Maybe it's a plan we had that didn't work out. And that's when we really see where we need to go with abandonment. We want to be listening to Christ. We want to be paying attention. My friends, you're so good. I think you're doing beautifully. Jesus is delighted with you. I was looking at a community of people, and I could see our community, and they were so beautiful. They were trying so hard, to be holy and to get it done. And on this one day, I could see that none of them thought they were holy. They couldn't see it. And I pictured a ballerina, a little girl, with her hair in a ponytail and her scuffy shoes and her tights. And she was practicing doing the same steps over and over again, and she couldn't get it right. And this little ballerina thought, I'll never be a dancer. I quit. And then she watches Swan Lake on TV, and she hears the music soar, and she sees the grace and beauty of the dancers. And she goes back, and she starts repeating the same steps over and over again. And I thought of a runner who gets up every day, and he runs around the same track, doesn't he? Every day, he's training. Around and around he goes. The runner doesn't say, what a waste of my time. I'm always running around the same track. He knows that when the time for the race comes, he'll be ready. He'll be conditioned. And that ballerina is a dancer. That little girl is already a dancer. She's doing it. She's dancing. You are the same. You're getting it done for Jesus. When I urge you to further holiness, I urge myself as well. We want to be as holy as we can. So let's rejoice. We're going to have Mass now. And then later, we're going to have a holy hour. And during the holy hour, we'll ask Jesus for all kinds of graces. And I think I'm speaking right before it. And we will expect the Lord to be generous. So this day is deeply personal for each one of us. This day is about you and Jesus Christ. It's deeply personal. You didn't come here, you were brought here. The Lord will illuminate for you, rejoice with you where you're getting it right, and then he'll help you see where you can, advance. So praise God. And over to Mark, and Mass is coming.